What would his parents think if I made like a bunch of like American food instead of Cameroonian food? Like, what if I made
Parents want to see that, okay, you can take care of me in the Cameroon, like you can cook in the Cameroon, you know?
So I understand it.
All right, boom. First and foremost, just want to say I apologize for the sound quality. There's a big echo where I am right now. Currently, I'm not at home. I'm away on vacation, as Americans would say. But I don't stop. But here's the thing. You see, this is the thing that I wouldn't even say that I'm conflicted about. This is something that I'm going to say I'm concerned about. When you get two people from two different cultures, there should be a combination of both. We know that when Kobe is in America, he's eating the American food. Whatever Emily's preparing for him is food that is American. I'm not saying that she's not preparing anything that is not from Cameroon, but based on her attitude or the way she's going about things in this episode, it tells me that she has no experience whatsoever of even ever attempting to make any Cameroon food, which is fine. Now, of course, they're now in Cameroon. So now they're in Cameroon, obviously, it's a chance to experience Cameroon food. I love it. But if this whole thing, if the whole purpose of her cooking for his family is to prove that she's able to look after their son by cooking him Cameroon food, well, then I feel like this is not the correct way to go about it. I say that because, you see, if he's used to, I reckon there should be a middle ground. This is what I believe should happen. The parents or whoever it is, or the dad, whatever, should be like, my son left us to come and marry you and have kids with you, okay? And we can see that he's happy. But at the same time, we want him to also feel like he's at home whenever he's in the States. So we would like to teach you how to cook Cameroon food, okay? But also on top of that, not only do we want you to teach you how to cook Cameroon food that we will taste and give you our own honest review, but at the same time, we also would like you to cook the food that you cook our son too. So therefore, we at least know what you've been feeding him, and we know that you're able to obviously cook for him in a way that, that makes sense, that's going to make him happy with his appetite, let's say. So really and truly, in this whole thing, this should be more about how Emily being taught how to cook Cameroon food, not having the pressures of cooking it for the first time, and it to be to a certain standard that says, hey, you're good enough for my son. Do you see what I'm saying? It should be a thing where we'll teach you, but we also want to experience your cooking. And therefore, this is the best of both worlds, and therefore they can then they can also experience what their son has been eating this whole time and what he's most likely going to be eating moving forward as well while he's in America. But if Emily is able to cook and Cameroon food from time to time, that would be absolutely fantastic. Do you see what I'm saying? That is far much more realistic to the point of we want you to cook, so therefore we know you're able to look after our son. Do you see what I'm saying? But let's continue, because this is two cultures. There should be a middle ground. I hate this whole thing about when two people get married from two different cultures, but there's a lack of middle ground. It's always about somebody else. Why should it always be about somebody else? It should be about both. And this is why sometimes in life, some people end up rebelling from their families in seek of their own happiness, for love, and etc., etc. But we continue.
So I understand that. It's just the whole principle of the thing for me. It feels like we're selling our daughter.
A lot of things that could go wrong in our relationship. Bad luck can befall us just because we don't fulfill this part of the tradition.
All right, boom. Let's talk about this part of the tradition. That obviously we have to do these things here to make sure that we install good luck for our kids and for our family. This is the only thing that I'm going to say to it, and I'm going to say that from my humble experience, that is nothing but absolute BS. Because you see, I was told once upon a time that if I did not make amends with certain people for my family, that my life would not turn out to be happy, that I would struggle in certain areas in life. But this is the thing though, I ignored all those things. I went off, chased my goals, achieved my goals, and now I'm literally in the prime of my own happiness in life. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I had to eliminate those people that were in my way, that were not encouraging me, that were not supporting me, that were just dragging me down for me to be able to go to places that I need to go to. Do you see what I'm saying? So really and truly, that part of it, yeah, it's not really true. And let's be real. For some of us who know a lot more about the African culture, and we look at if I look at some of my brothers and sisters from Africa, so in particular, who have lived this tradition, a lot of them are not happy. A lot of them have not succeeded, and a lot of their children have not succeeded. So to be honest with you, that's something that's something that generally needs to change. What I'm saying right now it's just something that I have to emphasize, because I don't believe it's fair to say that, hey, you must do these things, because if you don't, the consequences are that our children may suffer, our relationship may not work, because that's not a fair thing to say. Do you see what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that I'm agreeing with Emily's mother for not wanting to pay this thing or whatever it is. I'm not saying, or receive the money, whatever. I'm not saying I agree with her. I'm just saying what Kobe's saying. I'm not saying it's incorrect, but from my own experiences and the things that I've seen, it really doesn't hold that much weight. So for him to say that this is something that could potentially help our relationship or it feels a bit like a warning, like a threat or something. Anyway, we continue.
Money for a person, that's what it feels like. I feel like no one has my back on this. I feel like people think I'm ridiculous for not getting it. I get it that it's his tradition. It's not my tradition.
See, here's the thing. I got two things to say on this. First and foremost, I do feel like Emily's mother's role in this situation is probably forced. I do feel like this is something that was probably added into the storyline by TLC personally. I don't really see this conversation going like this, but let's just run with it, all right? So she makes a very good point. She says, but this is not my tradition. That is a fair point. This goes back to my point in the very beginning. Where is that moment in life when you bring two traditions together and you find a middle ground? Listen, sometimes I be seeing weddings. Okay, I'll see like a Scottish themed wedding / Muslim themed wedding, or should I say maybe Indian themed, where you get maybe the Scots come out with their kilts, and then they'll do their traditional and then after that you get the Indians coming out with their traditional music and their dance and they really combine it, you know what I mean? And they make it so freaking wholesome, like, hey, we are bringing both cultures together. We're not going to do where it has to be this or has to be that. It's together. Do you see what I'm saying? I love it when I see things that come together. Now, I'm not saying that isn't necessarily happening in this, but these are things that I'm pointing out because the points of views that are being given here are being given on a basis of, well, this is my culture, so this is what we should do. This is the argument right now from both sides, and that's not healthy. What's healthy is finding that middle ground, that compromise. You see what I'm saying? But I think in this situation in particular, to be honest with you, is there a middle ground to the fact that but in this situation here, there isn't a middle ground in terms of, receiving money for your freaking daughter or whatever it is. It's not that deep, but maybe it is that deep, but like I said before, I feel like this is more of a TLC thing, or sharp entertainment. But we continue.
There has to be a bride price for a traditional marriage to take place. If a situation like that arises, there's not going to be any wedding.
This is the question. So if there is not going to be a wedding, then what does that mean? Does that mean that you're going to stay in Cameroon and not go back home with your wife and kids? What does that mean? Does it mean that your relationship is now done? What does it mean? Because really and truly, you saying that there isn't going to be a wedding doesn't really answer anything. But this goes back to another point earlier on in the video where Kobe was talking about, well, if we don't do these things, whatever, then it's going to put bad luck on us. You know what I mean? On our relationship. It's interesting, isn't it? How the things that have been said here are being said in a way that threatens their relationship. If these things are threatening your relationship, then the question is this: how strong is your relationship then? How strong is your care? How strong is your love for your wife? Because really and truly, if your care, love, and XYZ is strong for your wife, well then, how are we here? How are we in a conversation where you're saying, well then, that means no wedding? Okay, well that means that we may have bad luck. That would then also potentially suffer our children as well. We have to pay attention to the languages that's being used, you see what I'm saying? Because this whole episode between their relationship has come across more negative than it has come across as compromising. And we want it to come across more compromising rather than negative, do you see what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they do have a very good relationship, do you see what I'm saying? That has a lot of tools to work. But listen, let me know your thoughts and your opinions on the matter. As far as I am concerned regarding this situation, you're both coming for two different worlds. Do your best to put them together, not whatever this is. But hey, this is just reality TV, so you never really know what the real truth is between these two, do you now? But nonetheless, though, I would love to know, though, if they didn't get married in Cameroon, because the dad did not approve, I would love to know what would then be the consequence. What would come next? Would Kobe have to stay at home in Cameroon, or would he still go back home in the States? Because really and truly, if he's still going to go back, home in the States with his wife and his kids, but then this whole storyline of them getting married and all that kind of stuff actually doesn't even matter, and then does it? Really and truly, because we didn't get married in Cameroon, but we're still going to be together. So what difference does it make? But nonetheless, though, let me know your thoughts and your opinions, and we can talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.